Welcome to the RavenFist Studio YouTube channel. This is an exploration of 4 specific Batman video games. Why do more analysis of Batman? Surely that's been done to death. Yes, in a lot of ways that's true, but these are analyzed through the specific lens of my childhood. Let's start with Batman the video game for the NES. Batman was released in early 1990 in North America as a tie-in to Tim Burton's Batman film. I was a comic book kid and was aware of Batman prior to Burton's film, but I must admit that Batman '89 did shape a lot of what I would come to expect from The Dark Knight. I feel like it still holds up as a film even in this post-Nolan Batman world. It's a different take to be sure, and any devotees of Tim Burton will see more of his fingerprints on it than is perhaps appropriate. But it is still very well done, and in 1989 it was huge. It tied in with everything imaginable, and the video game based on the film was simply inevitable. I remember buying the game immediately after I saw it in stores. My parents made a rule that I had to rent a game to be sure that I liked it before buying a game. It was a sensible rule, but in the case of Batman it was broken. Not even my parents were immune to Batman frenzy in the late 80s and early 90s. I played the game and loved it. The graphics are striking, being a high goalpost in the NES library. I remember as a 10-year-old being mesmerized by the animation of Batman's cape. I had simply never seen anything so detailed in a video game, and even at that age it was not lost to me. The game itself is challenging, and I never completed it as a child. Having played it to completion as an adult, I can plainly see why I always died in the third level to these jumping creatures. Even today, I struggle with them a little bit. Though it's challenging, the game is never unfair, offering unlimited continues, which means that with enough determination you can punch, batarang, bat spear gun, or bat disc your way through the game. And let's not forget about the wall jump. Let's be honest, you've probably played this game, so you don't need me to wax philosophically about it. Let me just add that the score by Naoki Kodaka is a masterwork. Also developed by Sunsoft and based on the Tim Burton Batman film, Batman on Sega Genesis was a very, very different game. Released in 1991 in the US, this game confused my 11-year-old mind because the back of the box uses screenshots of the NES video game. When I first looked at this, I thought it must be a simple port of the NES game, but on a 16-bit system. That was enough to garner a rental from me, but imagine my surprise when I plugged this in my Sega Genesis and saw this. The game is solid and fun, but in my opinion it is not superior to the NES game. Still, the graphics are terrific, and it adheres to the story beats of Batman '89 more closely. I appreciate the game for that fact, and to that end it even includes some vehicle combat stages towards the end of the game. It does suffer from some video gaminess in some stages. I don't remember chandeliers being rigged on a pulley system in the movie. Still, great game. Known in Japan as Dynamite Batman, which might be one of the best titles for anything that I've ever heard, this is a sequel to the Sunsoft Batman game, or games depending on how you look at them, but not really. It's a completely different style of game, with really only Batman and Naoki Kodaka, the composer, in common. That actually isn't the only thing these two games have in common. Two of the designers from the original Batman game, Yoshiaki Iwata and Tadashi Kojima, designed Batman Return of the Joker. But what a departure. Gone are the video game staples of Batman punching and, punching. Instead, there's a strange batarang system with Batman only fighting with a gun mounted to his wrist. Sometimes he flies around with a jetpack, which is actually pretty cool. I'd play a whole game of this, Batman crossed with a shmup. I first encountered this game in a local toy store. I saw the box art behind the counter and was completely transfixed. This is incredible box art that is instantly appreciated by any fan of Batman comics. The colors are striking, the design is top-notch, and it's among some of the better illustrations of the Joker in all of Batman's history. I love the grin, I love the bat symbols instead of irises. This box art sold this game to me. I had to know what game was contained in that box. And I wasn't disappointed, but as I alluded earlier, the game is a bit odd. The shooting mechanic is very un-Batman-like and makes the game feel closer to Mega Man or Contra than Batman. In fact, the ending of Batman Return of the Joker is just like Contra. Yep, Contra. But don't take this as complaining. Despite Batman Return of the Joker being off the wall from the perspective of a lifelong Batman fan, this game is crazy fun. It's also not terribly difficult due to the continue system. You can brute force this game in a couple of hours if you're so dedicated. Batman can choose from 4 different weapon types, each with an alternate fire accessible by holding down the attack button. Additionally, if you collect enough orbs, you can turn into, Super Batman? Yes, there are inexplicable things about this game, like why the first time you fight the Joker, he's throwing bubbles at you, and somehow they hurt Batman. And like the second time you fight Joker, he's inside this machine that looks passingly like Jet Jaguar from Godzilla vs. Megalon. Or why you begin every boss fight by getting hit by lightning, which fills your life bar for some reason. But even with these inexplicable things, I love this game. I think it's beautiful. The huge sprites are very well done, and even though there's not the cape play of the first Batman game, this one has a special place in my heart. I suppose the best explanation as to the bizarreness of this game rests in its title. Its Japanese title, that is. This is Dynamite Batman. I'll make this quick. What the crap is this game? I thought the point of 16-bit games was to be better than 8-bit. This port looks worse than the NES version, plays worse than the NES version, and is harder than the NES version. I rented this expecting to get the same game I had already experienced on the NES, but with an extra dose of Sega attitude added in. When I played it, all I could think was, I'm glad I didn't buy this. Do yourself a favor and stick to the NES version. Well, I think we'll end on that low note. I apologize for that, but honestly, there are a lot of Batman video game low notes. If I continue, I'll have to talk about the various Batman Returns games and then Batman Forever. Honestly, if you're exploring Batman games, you can skip directly from Batman Return of the Joker to Arkham Asylum for PS3, Xbox 360, PC era. Be sure to comment and tell us your opinion of these Batman games. Share your thoughts about how awesome Dynamite Batman is. And if there's any one of you out there who thinks the Genesis port is the superior of the two, please let us know. I'd love to know your reasons why. Until next time.